Oh, well, hello there again, friends and family. So glad you could stop by for a while here in my little piece of paradise, you know, in South Alabama. Yeah, and I know it's been a while since we've been on. Really didn't have a whole lot to talk about. Or let me say this, I didn't have a lot to talk about that was good. But then it sort of reminded me of that little old saying, you know, that our parents used to tell us and our grandparents back when we were younger, you know, when we were children. You know, if you can't say something good, don't say anything. Yeah, well, here of late, finding something good to talk about has been extremely difficult, even here in my little world. Yeah, there were promises that fall would bring a new planting season, the fall gardening season. They projected cooler temperatures, which we've had somewhat, especially at nights, getting down into the mid-50s, even down into the low 40s a night or two. That's been wonderful. But in the daytime, temperatures have been, a day or two, they were in the high 70s, low 80s, others mid to high 80s. So not all that much relief as far as the heat went. But the thing that didn't come, and hasn't come since third week in August, has been rain. Not an area drop on my little piece of paradise. Yeah, so watering continued. And if you might remember, if you've been watching for a while and watched the walkabouts, we were going through a type of monsoon season during July and August after having an exceptionally dry spring. Yeah, but now the drought is back and in full force, and it's had to be at least 6 weeks, if not going on 7, since any rain has fell here. I was hoping with Hurricane Ian that we'd get some rain from it. What I wasn't hoping for, and I was praying against, is exactly what happened. The devastation, loss of life in Florida. That's extremely saddening. My heart goes out to each and every one of those people affected by loss of family, friends, also property. It'll be a long time it takes to recover. We need to keep them in our prayers. And if you can afford and you're generous enough to provide some type of relief, then I would encourage you to do so if you can. But I was about to take my afternoon walk, so if you'd like to walk with me, we'll talk a little more, and I'll show you what's going on in my sparse plantings here this fall and why. Well, as you can see, me and my buddy Spooky, we're over here at the tire planters, and we got what do you think, Spooky? You think it's looking okay? Well, it is. We got some kale here, which hasn't done a whole lot since we put it in several weeks back, but it's surviving. We got some Swiss chard here and a lone cabbage plant there beside Spooky. And the only way this is surviving is because we're watering it. Yeah. Twice a day, every day. It's that same old routine. It gets 2 gallons in the morning, and depending now, not every day, another 2 gallons in the evening before the sun goes down. Then over here, this one looks pretty good. But if you actually knew how long it had been in the ground, you'd understand. Yeah, it's growing, and it seems to be thriving. But actually, it should be much larger and looking much better. And that's my Swiss chard here. And these are cabbages. Both look fine. And they'd look a lot finer if they'd only been in the ground, a week and a half or so. And I'm thinking now, it's been nearly 3 weeks. But that gets back to heat stress and drought stress. The watering just keeps them alive. they're not going to thrive. And if you listen as we walk, oh yeah, you'll hear the crunch of not only leaves, but the crunch of dry grass underneath my feet. And just look how dry. Yep. The grass is just dying. I haven't had to mow since third week of August. Just hasn't grown. But up here we got one little Waltham butternut squash plant we've been trying to keep alive. Yep. And it's still growing. Occasionally you'll put a flower bud on, but not much. My hopes was when planting these Waltham, which this is the last one left, with supposed temperatures coming down in September, nothing said about rainfall, but I was hoping it would be normal, which it definitely was not. We've had to water this as well, every day. And then when I came and looked at it this morning, there was damage to the little watering well I made. I've straightened it up some. You can see some right there. And now what I've got, and you'll see more of this, is probably a possum digging for grubs and worms. And he or she is going to dig where they can, where the ground is softer. Because this ground here is dead dry and extremely hard as concrete. They can't dig. So they dig where I water. And I would think my big buddy Spooky there would help me out in the evenings and shoo them away. But I think he's sleeping on guard duty. Aren't you, Spooky? Yep, I believe you are. But that's okay. And if you didn't know it, in the fall comes a once a time in the year event. And you'll see it right here. And these golden yellow flowers. Yeah, it's that time of the year. If you're wanting to be out harvesting your goldenrod, you should look up goldenrod. All the medicinal uses. I mean, quite a few. If nothing more, it's a beautiful addition to the fall. And you can see tiny little wasps. Yeah, one big one there, feeding on the pollen. But even the old raised bed here, the possums got in it, and we're digging around too. And why? It's soft to dig. Yeah. Not to mention the earthworms. They love it because they can travel through it with less effort, as do the grubs, which is what I'm thinking the possum is after. The cherry tomato is still loaded up with cherry tomatoes. Yep. I mean, it's cascaded all the way back down to the ground. We still have a cantaloupe vine here trying to grow. And you can even see right here what could be another cantaloupe. But the pepper patch has just been amazing this year, and it's still going. I mean, look right there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 small bell peppers. You got one here, and you'll notice 2 bad places. Now I got to pick that off and cook it up. That is from stink bugs, which have been prolific. Look at this limb here hanging down. Look at that. There's a bad place on the bottom of that one. There's 3 nice ones. But they're all in through here. And to my surprise, and I'll show it to you, oh, there's some more. Look at these. Here's another yellow, smaller. But if you look right on top, right here, yep, more stink bug damage. They've been everywhere. Garlic chives in the pot, doing fine. But not only have we had yellow bells, but I also have one plant here with red ones. So hey, I can cook up something festive. Yellow and red and green. Now that will make a truly festive dish. Yep, we even got a gypsy down in here starting to turn. And you can see this cherry tomato is starting to crawl and spread out from the bed. Oh, that black cherry tomato has been prolific, to say the least. But yeah, I'm proud of the peppers. Between the cucumbers, the peppers, and well, the beans, they've been my 3 best crops this year. We'll walk over and check the northeast little bed we got, where we had more cucumbers growing. They're done for the time being. And you can also see the okra's done. We've left a couple pods on the top to go to seed. That'll be enough for what we're planting next year. But right here, I just throwed out some more turnip and Swiss chard seed. Here again, it was old, and it had come up. Well, last couple of nights, a possum came by and started digging in it as well. You can see the evidence of it here. Dug up about half of it. They've even started digging in the beds. I've had to fix this one where I've got some green sweet peas planted. And here's something you might not know, but your okra plants, they'll sprout lower down as the year goes on. In fact, many years, and I may do it to this one, I cut them off above this, throw some fertilizer to it, and this will all shoot up and produce me another stand of okra before the winter months come. But let's go show you what critter damage can do. And it could be a groundhog, because we got one of them too. But I had a mighty fine wash and squash right there. It's gone. Well, it's not gone. There's what they left of it. They rooted it all the way out. And then this here planting of green sweet peas, and you can see the decimation on the ground. It's just all thoroughly dug up. They uprooted a lot of plants. I mean, this was a thick planting. and it was looking mighty fine. Climbing up on the netting. Well, that was Tuesday. Today's Thursday, and this is what we have. And you can see where they dig so much. You can see the tree roots. I hope they got what they needed, because this is looking pretty sad. Now I'm thinking I probably got time to replant, but then I'd have to figure out just how to keep them out, since my guard cats aren't doing their job. No, they're not, but that's okay. I still love them. And let me show you, with the drop in temperatures, I want you to look at the tomatoes. Yeah, that's what I wish I'd saw earlier in the year. Now they seem to be everywhere. All throughout here. And many more blossoms are coming along. And there's a tiny tomato there. Smaller ones here. Hanging right there. And even lower down. Yeah, the vines look pretty trashed. They grew up about 8 feet high. And then they leaned over. After failing to reach the sky, they headed for the ground below. Ooh, there's a couple of nice ones. There's some more stink bug blemish right there. And oh yeah, we've been picking off fall army worms, hornworms. If you want food, especially during a drought, and I can't blame the critters, or even the insects too. They're hungry, just like we are. It's been a tough year for gardening down here, and I know it has been in many places in the U.S. Why? Because you let me know in the comments below the video. The beans, all we're doing there is letting them end up and dry, and we'll harvest them here in a couple of weeks and bring them inside. Not necessarily to eat, but for seed. There's still a few green ones on them right there. Just probably enough for a mess for the little old man. But primarily they're finished. They too, as the drought continued, were ravaged by caterpillars and everything else. And this little cherry tomato, which was, the seed was sent to me by Chris. Oh, it's on about head high now. It's getting blossoms. It's even got a few tomatoes. But it struggled greatly during the heat. And this was only 1 out of 6 that survived. Hey, it was a champion. Sort of a hero. And there's some more of the goldenrod. And there's a rather large cluster right there. I had much more last year, so I think I'll leave it be. So it can reseed and come back to us in the year to come. maybe things will be better upon the land. The pig, which was starting to set more pigs for a fall crop, yeah, well, it decided once the drought set back in, no, this wasn't going to be able to support them. And it's got a few left. I think I counted, 4 or 5. Well, considering I get 50% and the birds get the other 50, I'll get 2. You coming with us, Mr. Gray? Bringing up the rear, like always. And who do we got here? Well, that's Spooky. So that's Miss Cleo. Cleo, is that you? Did you come to walk with Papa in the afternoon? With this light breeze, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's my Cleo. You a whiner. Now, I told you, not on my legs when I got shorts on. Those claws are like needles. Give me a break. Ooh, and they really are. I think the Latanya finally had a few blossoms. Finally. Being the key word. The hummingbird sure did miss it. Yeah, it's got a few. Not many. And if you know in previous years, this would be loaded with them. But I've heard many people, theirs have yet to bloom or haven't bloomed at all year long. The spider lilies are finishing up. Their beauty has faded. Like in time. All things do. The blueberries, of course, they've been finished. And here again, I see something I don't normally see. The leaves are changing color so early. And I'm thinking that too is because of the severity of the drought. But hey, if you'd like, we'll sit down on the front porch and chat a while longer. Oh, and not to mention, I got the 2 pumpkins I grew and my 1 butternut squash. So I decided for now to have a little fall color up on the old front porch. It's not much, but it's all I got, so it'll have to do. So y'all, there you have it. Not much going on. You know, we've had other things to do. Electrical repairs we've had to make in the house. Still working on the Focus and one of the trucks. I mean, right now I got 1.5 vehicles. I got Blackie, which is doing fine, but still needs a couple of things. Shocks for one. Yeah, I think it's got 1 broken one. And of course, my pewter truck, the short wheelbase S10, is still missing on 1 cylinder. And we got to find out why. It'll run and it'll drive, but it isn't comfortable and it's rather weak. And the Focus, everything works, but the giddy up and go, no matter what selector you put the transmission in, it just sits there and whines. I miss little Pokey. Maybe you do too. But I thought I'd come on here since it's been a while and show you just what's up with me and the kitty crew here in my little piece of paradise. in southern Alabama. Now, as far as the gardening goes, there's still time if the weather changes. I'm loving the temps. Can't complain about that. But we gotta have some rain. You see, I've even noticed some deer pressure just here of late. I'm thinking deer is who ate the leaves off my cantaloupe plants. And I know in time they'll eat everything. Because back in 2019, I fought the deer all season long. It's sort of like that song. I fought the law and the law won. Well, I fought the deer and threw everything I had at it. And they won. Every last thing suggested on the internet. Not a one was effective. And that makes sense when it's this dry. I mean, I got trees dropping leaves. Not because it's fall. They're dropping green leaves. And the acorns are falling rather early this year. These are all signs of drought pressure on everything. On the trees, on your plants, your grasses, and what have you. But that same drought pressure is on the animals, both domestic and wild. Yeah. The yard panthers still tend to stay in the shade. It hasn't got that cool yet for them. Oh. But today's a lovely day. A light breeze, maybe 5 to 10. I think we're 81. Hey, can't beat that, let me tell you. But when I look at the forecast, another 7 days out before there's a marginal chance of rain. I'm not sure you caught that, but that was our mail lady. And she was singing a song. But she's an awesome individual. Works hard, she does. A lot of walking on her route and a lot of heavy packages. I know, from just what I ordered online. But there is a lot of time left this fall, especially here. Normal years, we can grow in October, November, even into December without seeing a frost. But the drought, I know sooner or later that drought's going to push the deer out of the big woods. And where are they going to come? To find something to eat? Well, just like in 2019, they're going to come here. Yep. Except this year, I won't fight them. They can have what's on hand, and I'll be glad for them. Well, that's pretty much all that's going on here with me in my little place. And if you will, and if you got time, maybe you'll share how things are going with you and wherever you may be in this big wide world of ours. What are your plans for the fall in the coming year? As always, there's a lot of discussion in the comments below each video, and I encourage you, especially if you're new to the channel, to take the time to read through some of them. I've been getting behind here lately, but I'm going to try to do a lot better in the future. So hey, I don't know what more I can say, and this is probably way too long. More than you wanted to know and listen to. Yep, as far as the little old man goes, as I say, I'm doing the best I can be at the time. And we'll leave it at that. So until I, the kitty crew, Cleo, which you saw, Spooky, Speedy, which is napping somewhere I'm sure. She's such a diva. Mr. Gray, and Magoo, and sometimes Heathcliff, and little Gracie and Lily Bit too. See you on that next video. Y'all stay safe out there. Take care. Stay prepared. And may God bless each and every one of you. as you bless those in your lives. Goodbye for now. Spooky, you just went ahead and crashed right there. Wonder where Mr. Gray is. Whew, gotta be careful walking these days. There's a lot of acorns on the ground. Yep, when you get older, you just don't bounce as good as you once did. Just stepped and cracked one there. Yeah, it's a little fall festivity or festival. It'll be just fine. You got to work with what you got. We ain't spending any money. Later, all.